Have you ever stayed silent in English, even when you knew exactly what you wanted to say? Not because you didn't understand the conversation, not because you didn't know any English, but because you were afraid of making a mistake. Maybe you were worried about your pronunciation. Maybe you weren't sure about the grammar. Maybe you couldn't find the perfect word at the perfect moment. And so, instead of speaking, you stayed quiet. I think most English learners know exactly what that feels like, because we've all been taught, in one way or another, that mistakes are something to avoid. In school, mistakes often mean losing points. At work, mistakes can feel embarrassing. And when learning a language, mistakes sometimes feel personal, as if every error is proof that we're not good enough yet. So we wait. We wait until our vocabulary is bigger. We wait until our pronunciation improves. We wait until we feel more confident. We wait until we finally feel ready. But what if that moment never comes? What if confidence isn't something that magically appears one morning? What if confidence is something that grows only after we start speaking? Think about learning to ride a bicycle. Nobody becomes confident before getting on the bike. Confidence comes after trying, after wobbling, after falling, after getting back up again. And somehow, when it comes to English, we forget that. We expect ourselves to be comfortable before we've had enough practice to become comfortable. We expect ourselves to sound fluent before we've given ourselves permission to be beginners. And that creates a trap that keeps people waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect level, the perfect pronunciation, the perfect version of themselves. But language doesn't work that way. English is not a performance. It is not an exam that never ends. It is a tool for sharing ideas, a tool for building relationships, a tool for understanding people and being understood. And the truth is, most conversations don't require perfection. They require participation, they require effort, they require courage. The courage to speak even when you're unsure. The courage to continue even when you make mistakes. The courage to sound imperfect while you're still learning. Because every person you admire who speaks English confidently today was once a beginner too. They had awkward conversations, they forgot words, they made mistakes, they felt nervous. And yet they kept speaking, not because they were fearless, but because they understood something important. Progress belongs to the people who keep showing up, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's messy, even when it's imperfect.
You know what? As I was listening to that, I realized something. I've been waiting for confidence for a very long time. I keep telling myself that one day I'll finally feel ready to speak English. One day I'll know enough vocabulary. One day my pronunciation will be better. One day I won't be afraid of making mistakes. But that day never seems to arrive. Every time I reach one goal, I create another requirement. First, I wanted to learn basic conversations. Then I wanted more vocabulary. Then I wanted better grammar. Then I wanted a better accent. And somehow, no matter how much I learned, I still didn't feel ready. I think part of the problem is that I compare myself to people who are already fluent. I watch videos. I listen to podcasts. I hear people speaking English naturally. And instead of feeling inspired, sometimes I feel discouraged. I think, why don't I sound like that? Why can't I speak that easily? But when I stop and think about it, that comparison doesn't make much sense. I'm comparing my beginning to someone else's years of practice. And maybe that's not fair. Maybe I've been measuring my progress the wrong way. Because if I compare myself to where I was 6 months ago, I can actually see improvement. I understand more. I recognize more words. I feel less nervous than before. The progress is there. It's just slower than I expected. And maybe that's what I need to accept. Learning a language is not a race. It's a process, a long process. And maybe confidence isn't something I find at the end of the journey. Maybe confidence grows little by little every time I decide to speak, even when I don't feel completely ready. Honestly, that's a different way of looking at it. And for the first time in a long time, it actually makes me want to keep going.
I think that's one of the most important realizations any English learner can have, because the moment you stop comparing yourself to other people, you can finally focus on your own progress. And that's where real growth begins. The truth is, most people underestimate how much they are improving because they only notice what they still can't do. They focus on the words they forgot, the grammar mistakes they made, the moments when they felt uncomfortable. But they rarely stop to notice everything that has already improved. Maybe 6 months ago, you couldn't understand a video like this. Maybe a year ago, you were translating every sentence in your head. Maybe you avoided English completely because it felt overwhelming. And now you're listening. Now you're learning. Now you're showing up. And that matters more than you think. Progress is often invisible when you're living through it. It's only when you look back that you realize how far you've come. That's true for fitness. It's true for learning an instrument. And it's certainly true for learning a language. The problem is that many people quit before they give themselves enough time to see the results. They expect dramatic improvement in a few weeks. They expect confidence to appear overnight. They expect fluency to arrive quickly. And when it doesn't happen, they become frustrated. But language learning is not built on dramatic moments. It's built on small moments. A conversation, a new word, a sentence you understood, a question you finally had the courage to ask. Those small moments seem insignificant by themselves, but over time, they create something powerful. They create momentum, and momentum changes everything. Because once you start moving forward, even slowly, you begin to trust yourself. You begin to realize that mistakes are not obstacles. They're part of the process. You begin to understand that every awkward conversation is actually practice. Every forgotten word is an opportunity to learn. Every uncomfortable moment is evidence that you're growing. And that changes the relationship you have with English. Instead of seeing English as something that judges you, you begin to see it as something that serves you. A tool, a bridge, a way to connect with people, ideas, opportunities, and experiences that were once out of reach. And when you start looking at it that way, something interesting happens. The pressure begins to disappear. Not all at once, but little by little, and when the pressure decreases, speaking becomes easier, learning becomes easier, and confidence begins to grow naturally.
You know, the more I think about it, the more I realize that I've been putting a lot of pressure on myself. Maybe too much. I've been treating every conversation like a test, every mistake like a failure, and every awkward moment like proof that I wasn't ready yet. But maybe I was looking at it the wrong way. Maybe those awkward moments weren't signs that I should stop. Maybe they were signs that I was learning. Because when I look back, the moments that helped me improve the most weren't the easy ones. They were the uncomfortable ones.
The conversations where I struggled.
The times I couldn't find the right word. The moments when I had to keep talking even though I felt nervous. Those were the experiences that taught me something. And honestly, that's encouraging because it means I don't have to wait until I'm perfect. I don't have to wait until I'm completely confident. I can start where I am with the English I have today. And maybe that's enough. Maybe progress doesn't begin when fear disappears. Maybe progress begins when we decide to move forward despite the fear.
I think that's exactly the lesson most English learners need to hear. Not because it's easy, but because it's true. For years, many people believe that confidence comes first. They believe that one day they will finally feel ready. Ready to speak, ready to participate, ready to make mistakes without feeling embarrassed. But confidence rarely works that way. Confidence is not something you wait for. Confidence is something you build. One conversation at a time. One sentence at a time. One mistake at a time. And that's why perfection can be such a dangerous goal, because perfection is always moving. No matter how much you improve, there will always be another word to learn, another grammar rule to master, another pronunciation challenge to overcome. If your goal is perfection, you'll always feel like you're not there yet. But if your goal is communication, everything changes, because communication is available to you right now, not next year, not when your vocabulary doubles, not when your accent improves. Right now, with the English you already have, and that's something worth remembering. The world is full of people who communicate successfully without perfect English. They travel, they build friendships, they create opportunities. They work with international teams. They share ideas, they tell stories, and they do it because they are willing to speak before they feel completely ready. That willingness changes everything, because every conversation teaches you something. Every attempt makes you stronger. Every mistake becomes experience, and every experience builds confidence, little by little. day by day, without you even noticing it. So the next time you have the opportunity to speak English, take it. Even if you're nervous, even if you're unsure, even if you think your sentence could be better, speak anyway. Because perfect English is not the goal. Communication is the goal. Growth is the goal. Connection is the goal. And confidence? Confidence is what happens when you stop waiting for perfection and start trusting the process. Thank you for spending these minutes with us today. And remember, your voice deserves to be heard long before your English becomes perfect.